It could very well be that there was a natural area on the earth that the Temple Mount was deliberately built around.
For over 1,000 years, the Dome of the Rock has been one of the most sacred and untouchable sites in the world. Its gleaming golden dome watching over the ancient city of Jerusalem. Beneath its foundation lies the legendary Foundation Stone, a place wrapped in prophecy, faith, and mystery. Generations of scholars, explorers, and religious leaders have debated what truly lies beneath it, but strict religious and political barriers have kept the area almost entirely off limits. For centuries, its secrets have remained sealed away, until now. Thanks to recent breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, researchers were able to digitally reconstruct and analyze hidden features beneath the dome without ever lifting a single stone. What the AI detected stunned scientists across the globe. Complex underground structures, anomalies in the bedrock, and signs of ancient human activity, far older than anyone expected, emerged from the data. Some findings suggest connections to the lost treasures of the First Temple. Others point toward ancient worship sites predating biblical history itself. The results have ignited fierce debates between those who see it as proof of long-rumored biblical events and those who warn that it could upend our understanding of the region's entire history. But one thing is clear. Whatever AI has uncovered beneath the Dome of the Rock is rewriting the story of one of the holiest places on Earth. And it's only the beginning. Get ready. What you're about to hear might just blow your mind. At the heart of this discovery lies the exposed stone atop Mount Moriah, a location that has been revered for centuries. In ancient Semitic belief, this naked rock was seen as the very mouth of the serpent Tahum, a mystical gateway between the underworld and the world above. It's a place steeped in mystery, myth, and now, groundbreaking science. According to the Talmud, the foundation stone is believed to be the very spot from which the world was created. It's said that this was the first part of the earth to come into being. The world, tradition tells us, began when God took a special stone, called Even Hashitia, and cast it into the depths. It became anchored from the heavens above to the earth below, and from this divine anchor point, the rest of creation began to unfold. In the mystical writings of the Zohar, this stone is described as the center of the universe, the cosmic heart of all creation. It was also the site of the Holy of Holies, the most sacred chamber in the ancient Jewish temple. The Torah tells us that God gathered the very earth used to create Adam from this area. It was here that Adam, and later Cain, Abel, and Noah, offered sacrifices to God, marking it as a deeply spiritual site from humanity's earliest days. Jewish tradition also holds that this is the exact place where Abraham faced his ultimate test, proving his faith when God asked him to offer his son Isaac. In Islamic tradition, this story is also honored, but with a key difference. Muslims believe it was Abraham's son Ishmael whom God asked him to sacrifice, and this event also took place on this sacred rock. This single stone, rooted in history, myth, and faith, is revered across cultures and religions, connecting us all to the origins of the world and the divine. According to the Bible, when King David purchased a threshing floor from Araunah the Jebusite, he offered a sacrifice there. It's believed that on this very rock, David experienced a powerful vision, angels ascending a golden ladder into the heavens. Moved by this divine moment, he longed to build a permanent temple on the site. However, because David was a warrior with blood on his hands, he was not permitted to carry out this sacred task. Instead, the responsibility fell to his son, King Solomon, who completed the first temple around 950 BCE. The most sacred part of that temple, the Holy of Holies, is believed to have stood directly atop this very rock. The location holds deep significance for Christians as well. In addition to its role as the Jewish temple, it's believed to be a place where Jesus came as a child and later returned to pray and teach. During the Byzantine era, the mother of Emperor Constantine the Great is said to have built a modest church on this site, called the Church of St. Cyrus and St. John. It was later reconstructed and renamed the Church of Holy Wisdom, the structure that once stood where the Dome of the Rock now rises. Muslims also deeply revere this location. According to Islamic tradition, it marks a sacred moment in the Prophet Muhammad's life. According to Islamic tradition, this is the sacred place from which the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven, accompanied by the angel Gabriel. The Quran tells us that during a miraculous night journey, Muhammad was taken from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, a journey meant to reveal divine signs to him. These two holy sites are widely understood to be the Kaaba in Mecca and the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Muhammad's journey was guided by the archangel Gabriel, and together they rode a mystical winged steed known as Al-Buraq. Along the way, they stopped briefly at Mount Sinai and Bethlehem before arriving at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. There, on this revered site, Muhammad encountered several of the great prophets, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and others, and led them in prayer at the summit of the rock. Then, a radiant ladder of golden light appeared, and Muhammad ascended through the 7 heavens, each one more magnificent than the last, until he reached the presence of God himself. In that sacred encounter, God gave Muhammad guidance on how prayers should be performed, setting the foundation for daily Islamic worship. Afterward, Muhammad was returned to Mecca, completing what is now remembered as one of the most profound spiritual journeys in Islamic faith. The Dome of the Rock stands at the visual and spiritual center of a large ancient platform. This site is known as the Temple Mount to Jews and as Haram al-Sharif, or the Noble Sanctuary to Muslims. This elevated platform was greatly expanded during the reign of King Herod the Great. It once held the Second Jewish Temple, a sacred structure that was tragically destroyed by the Romans during the siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE. Centuries later, in 637 CE, during the Islamic conquest of the Byzantine Empire, the army of the Rashidun Caliphate captured Jerusalem. After reaching a peaceful agreement with the city's Christian leadership, Caliph Umar requested to be taken to the site of the ancient Jewish temple. When he arrived, Umar was shocked. The once holy site had been turned into a dumping ground, covered in trash and debris. The Romans had long used the area as a garbage heap, treating it with disregard. Umar's reaction set the stage for a new chapter in the site's history, one that would restore its spiritual importance for generations to come. Upon seeing the sacred site in such a neglected state, Caliph Umar immediately knelt down and began clearing the debris with his own hands. Inspired by his actions, the Muslim soldiers who had accompanied him joined in, and together they quickly cleaned the entire 35-acre area. Umar then ordered the construction of a simple wooden mosque at the southern end of the platform, on the very spot where the Al-Aqsa Mosque now stands. A Jewish rabbi named Ka'b al-Ahbar, who had converted to Islam, guided Umar to the precise location of the foundation stone, a spot deeply revered in Jewish tradition. Centuries later, in 1833, British architect Frederick Catherwood became the first Westerner to make accurate sketches of the Dome of the Rock. He spent 6 weeks meticulously documenting the structure, producing one of the earliest detailed visual records of the site. The print you're referring to dates to 1887. As for the dome itself, its construction began under the Umayyad Caliphate and was completed between 685 and 691 CE, marking one of the oldest and most iconic examples of Islamic architecture in the world. The construction of the Dome of the Rock was initiated by the Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan. His vision wasn't just architectural, it was spiritual and symbolic. He intended the dome to serve as a shrine for pilgrims rather than as a mosque for regular worship. He also wanted it to provide shelter and comfort for visitors, protecting them from both the heat and the cold. To bring this vision to life, 2 trusted officials, Yazid ibn Salam of Jerusalem and Raja ibn Haywa of Baisan, were instructed to spare no expense in its construction. According to the Islamic geographer al-Maqdisi, the cost of building the dome was immense, reportedly equal to 7 years' worth of Egypt's entire revenue at the time. In a conversation with his uncle, al-Maqdisi questioned why the caliph had invested so heavily in the mosques of Jerusalem and Damascus. His uncle's response highlights the site's symbolic significance. According to Professor Dov Goitain of Hebrew University, the dome was constructed in part to relieve the fitna, a term that can mean unrest or challenge, caused by the dominance of grand temples from other faiths, particularly Christian ones. Though the design of the Dome of the Rock, Qubat al-Sakra, was unlike anything previously seen in Islam, it was intentionally meant to rival the great domes of Christianity. In fact, as A.C. Creswell points out in his book The Origin of the Plan of the Dome of the Rock, the builders likely used the measurements of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre as a reference. The Dome of the Rock's dome is 20.2 meters in diameter and 20.48 meters high, compared to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre's dome, which measures 20.9 meters in diameter and 21.5 meters in height. Architecturally, the dome is modeled after a Byzantine martyrium, a structure built to honor and house relics of saints. Its design stands as a stunning example of Middle Byzantine art, blending religious reverence with sophisticated architectural vision. According to the historian al-Maqdisi, the leftover funds from the Dome of the Rock's original construction were melted down and cast onto the building's exterior. The result was so dazzling that, at the time, it was said no one could look directly at it due to its intense brilliance. Later, during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, the dome's exterior was given a major facelift. It was covered in beautiful Islamic tiles, a project that took 7 years to complete. In the British Mandate era, Haj Amin al-Husseini, who had been appointed Grand Mufti by the British, worked alongside Yaqub al-Hussein to restore both the Dome of the Rock and the nearby Al-Aqsa Mosque. A significant restoration effort began again in 1955, led by the Jordanian government. With financial support from Arab nations and Turkey, the project involved replacing many of the ancient tiles that had been damaged or displaced over time, especially those dating back to Suleiman's era, which had suffered due to heavy rains. As part of the 1960 restoration, the dome was recovered with a durable aluminum and bronze alloy specially made in Italy. This phase of the restoration was completed in August 1964. Then, in 1998, the dome's golden covering was fully restored, thanks to an $8.2 million donation from King Hussein of Jordan. In a deeply symbolic gesture, King Hussein sold one of his homes in London to fund the purchase of 80 kilograms of gold for the project. Inside, the dome's interior is richly adorned with intricate mosaics, marble, and Islamic art, much of which was added centuries after the original structure was completed. The interior also features beautifully inscribed Quranic verses, many of which were commissioned during the time of Suleiman the Magnificent. During the 16th century, Suleiman the Magnificent commissioned the elaborate tilework that still adorns the Dome of the Rock today. He also ordered that Surah Yasin, a significant chapter from the Quran, be inscribed around the top of the structure. Just above this, the word Al-Isra is engraved, referencing the Prophet Muhammad's miraculous night journey. According to Professor Dov Goitin, the inner inscriptions of the dome carry a clear theological message. They subtly challenge Christian beliefs while firmly asserting the Islamic view of Jesus, Isa, as a revered prophet, not the Son of God. The phrase, "God has no companion," appears 5 times, and verses from Surah Maryam, 1934-37, which directly deny Jesus' divine sonship, are prominently displayed. Interestingly, the inscriptions also include a respectful invocation. "Pray for your prophet and servant Jesus, son of Mary, in the name of the one God, Allah." This line reflects a dual theme, both religious distinction from Christianity and a spirit of reverence toward Jesus as a key figure in Islam. Professor Goitain suggests that both rivalry with Christianity and Islam's respect for earlier prophets influenced the message behind the Dome of the Rock. More recently, archaeologists uncovered a hidden gate on the eastern wall of the Temple Mount, likely the ancient Nicanor Gate, adding a new chapter to the site's deep history. The Feast of Sukkot is closely linked to this wall. In temple times, Levites would descend 15 steps, singing the 15 songs of ascent, to draw water from the Pool of Siloam, a joyful ritual symbolizing divine blessing. The eastern wall itself is precisely aligned, with subtle elevation differences reflecting ancient temple design, from the Court of the Women to the Court of Israel. Recently, Dr. Eli David identified 2 blocked arches not mentioned in 19th century records. Dr. Lean Rittmeyer believes they could date back to the Crusader period or earlier, Though the plaza was expanded in the 7th or 8th century, it may include even older structures, like stone courses that might be part of the soreg, a boundary that once restricted access to ritually impure people. There's also evidence suggesting the presence of sealed underground chambers at the southern end of the eastern wall. Back in the mid-19th century, British officer Charles Warren requested permission to explore one of these openings. Mysteriously, by the very next day, a pile of dirt had been placed in front of the entrance. This was later reinforced with a stone wall, effectively blocking access. Recent findings beneath the Temple Mount have left researchers stunned. Dr. Lean Rittmeyer believes a section of the site may have once been the chamber of hewn stone, where the Sanhedrin held court. Nearby, large ancient stones, possibly dating to the Herodian era, may have supported the women's court. Even more intriguing are the blocked archways spotted by Dr. Eli David, which Rittmeyer suggests were once part of a triple gateway, potentially from the Crusader period or earlier. These hidden features hint at a much older, more complex history under the plaza. What makes this even more remarkable is that the discovery came just before Sukkot, a major Jewish festival filled with music and sacred rituals. In temple times, Levites would descend to the pool of Siloam, draw water, and return to pour it on the altar, each morning marked by the sound of trumpets. All of this reminds us, there's still so much buried beneath Jerusalem, waiting to rewrite what we know about history, faith, and the sacred. This ritual was so joyous and spiritually uplifting that ancient texts say, "Whoever has never witnessed the water-drawing ceremony has never experienced real joy in their life." The timing of this archaeological discovery, so close to Sukkot, adds a powerful spiritual resonance to the ongoing exploration of the Temple Mount. It reminds us how deeply the ancient rhythms of worship, music, and tradition are still tied to the stones beneath Jerusalem. Experienced joy. During the festival of Sukkot, Jesus drew attention to the water-pouring ritual, saying in John 7:37-39, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, streams of living water will flow from within him." Amazing facts about the Dome of the Rock, not a mosque. Though often mistaken for one, the Dome of the Rock is actually a shrine built over the foundation stone, similar to how the Kaaba in Mecca is built over a sacred stone. Who built it? The shrine was commissioned by Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik, but later, Abbasid Caliph al-Mamun tried to take credit by changing the inscription, forgetting to change the original date, which gave away the truth. Design origins. Built between 688 to 691 CE, the structure blends Romanesque, Byzantine, and Baroque influences. The rotunda design was inspired by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The dome's look. The Golden Dome wasn't always as we see it today. It has been restored several times, most notably re-gilded by King Hussein of Jordan in the 1990s. Did you know? The Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem has no grand entrance gate, unlike many modern religious buildings. Instead, it features 4 modest, nearly hidden doorways, reflecting a subtle architectural design. Although often mistaken for a mosque, it's actually a shrine, built over the sacred foundation stone, similar to the Kaaba in Mecca. It was constructed between 688 and 691 CE under Umayyad Caliph Abd al-Malik. Later, Abbasid Caliph al-Mamun tried to take credit by altering the inscription, but forgot to change the original date, preserving al-Malik's rightful legacy. That's it for this one. See you in the next video.